What's up, everybody? Mike here with Truth Awakening. Welcome. On today's video, we're discussing discernment, the intellectual and intuitive protocol. Before I jump into that, I'm out in the wilderness. Bear with me. Got a highway in the background. It's kind of windy. You got the bugs and everything. Not to distract from the video, but kind of push that stuff off to the side and just really tune into the message that I'm about to deliver. So, the intuitive and intellectual protocol, i.e. discernment. Before I jump into detail with that, I always love to give a real life perspective on whatever's being discussed. So I'm going to jump back to my childhood. Before 5 years old, my parents and I, we traveled around. We didn't have a stable, not travel around, we lived in, a small town, but we didn't have a stable household. And we were in and out of like little studios or trailer parks or what have you. And at one point we stayed in a little trailer on a side lot at my aunt's house, and behind her house was a family with 3 little boys, and the youngest boy was only a couple years older than me, and I was about 4 years old, almost coming up at 5 years old at the time. And every once in a while I would just go over there and play with him. Well, one day I went over there and it was just him, and I was like, hey, can you play? And he's like, yeah, not really, nobody's home, but let's go do something. And so we went over to his shed in the backyard, and on that shed and behind the shed was a picket fence, and on the interior was your little rails, so you can stand up on your little headers, your rails, whatever you want to call them. And what he would do, because that fence was so close backed up to the shed, that he would throw a ball up on the roof and then catch it and try to catch it without falling off the fence. And so we went over there and did that, and we were doing it a little bit. And then at one point the ball rolled too far to the right and it went into the neighbor's yard. Well, his neighbor was a retired police officer, and he had 2 retired police officer dogs there, 2 German Shepherds. And he didn't think nothing of it. He jumped over into the yard. All was well. He grabbed the ball, he threw it over. We came back, we started playing again. Well, it happened again. And when it happened that time, he said, hey man, it's your turn to go get it. And at that moment, I had this gut instinct. Don't do it. Don't do it. But I didn't know as a child how to articulate that intellectually. Like, hey, I don't feel comfortable. Hey, these dogs don't know me. I don't know if I should be doing this. Because at the same time, as a little boy, I knew he was right. Like, he just went and got it. Now it's my turn. It's only fair. So I didn't know how to speak up and to verbalize, like, hey, I don't want to do that. I don't think it's good. And so I jumped in the yard. And as soon as I hit the ground, boom, the dogs hit me. They attacked me. They dragged me around the yard. They end up ripping my shirt off. They ripped my pants off. They ripped my underwear off. They were biting me all on my legs and arms, just like a police officer dog would. I was covered in blood. The little boy didn't know what to do. He ran to the next door neighbors. Nobody was home. Ran to the next neighbors. Nobody was home. Ran to the next one. Somebody was home. I think the guy was like a teenager or a young adult. And he came running over, and he was trying to lean over the fence and grab me, but I was just a little boy. Like I said, I was like 4, almost 5 years old, and I couldn't reach his hand. And I kept running and trying to reach him. The dogs would hit me, knock me over, and then finally, like, I felt deep within. I was like, come on, you got this, you can do this. And I got like a little bit of a running start, and I ran and I jumped on the fence, and then I put my hand up, and I missed his hand, but he caught me and yanked me up. And then I don't really remember exactly what happened after that. He's like, hey, Go to your parents, go to your mom. I think he was like a young teenager or young adult, because because he couldn't reach over that fence and grab me, he must have been like a smaller person, Like I don't think he was an adult. But anyways, this guy ever watches this video and this is you, thank you, because you saved my life, pretty sure. And so I leave, I go back to my place, to the trailer. I knock on the door, I kind of hit on it. My mom opens the door, and God, could you even imagine to look down at your 4-year-old little boy, butt ass naked with puncture wounds all around? And I hate to get so descriptive, but it's a real life situation. Let's talk about it, right? And like they ripped me. I don't think I have the scars anymore. Yeah, right here. Anyways, ripped me, had meat hanging down. It was bad. I had like 120 puncture wounds. Long story short, though, with that situation, as a little boy, my brain, my left brain, my analytical thinking brain wasn't fully developed yet. I had the intuition that something wasn't right. I just didn't intellectually know how to verbalize it, and so I didn't have that discernment as a little boy to speak up and say something and to really stop, and that leads me to another quick point off subject. We shouldn't be pushing our beliefs, identities, or definitions upon children. They need to figure out who they are as a person. All we do is we're there to kind of mentor them, guide them, but by their own free will. Let them make their life choices. Teach them fundamentals, principles, values, morals, and then let them out into the world. If they fall off their path a little bit, hey, nudge them back onto their path. But other than that, let them figure out who they are as a person. Because as children, we don't have that discernment, that intellectual side to really grasp what's going on or what's even being said to us, But that's besides the point, and that's not what this video is about. But it's a good way to introduce, like, hey, let a kid be a kid. Kind of guide them, mentor and push them, but do it in a sense where you're not infringing on their free will. So, as a boy in that situation, I didn't have the discernment to really grasp the situation. And actually, when you think about it as an adult, that happens for a lot of people as well. It's not just a little kid. It's with real life situations. We see something on the news. Oh, well, the news said this. Or you hear something on the radio. Oh, well, I heard this. And you take it as absolute truth. You take it at its face value. Oh, I read this article and it said, oh, the government's saying this. Oh, this, oh, this. Use your discernment. Don't take everything that you see and hear as absolute truth. You have to read between the lines. You have to question things. And so if you're a very yang, very analytical, left brain, you think very broadly about things, if that's the only route you're going, you can miss the marker because you're not tuned in with your intuition. Same thing goes for my people that are very right brain. You're very emotional, very creative. Don't allow your emotions to control you and that bias opinion to mess up your judgment, right? And when I talk about judgment, folks, there's a positive aspect to judgment and there's a negative aspect. When you're looking down upon people, that's a negative aspect. When you're observing something, that's neutral. So don't get my words twisted here. Life is nuanced. But anyways, with my people that are very emotional, your heart might be in the right place, but you're not taking in all those variables that's right there in front of you, all the red flags. You're not noticing the red flags because you like what's being sold to you because it validates whatever you're feeling. You end up looking past those red flags, and you don't have the discernment to see through deception or deceit, right? It goes both ways. So we have to balance your masculine and feminine energy to utilize discernment. Your yang and yin energy, your left and right brain energy, you have to balance it. And that's with guys, right? And this where I'm gonna talk about it with the guys and the ladies, right? My dudes. We're taught to be so strong and so tough and not to show any emotion. At least some of us are. Well, you're doing yourself a disservice because there's a time and place for that. But when you tune in and have love and compassion and patience and all the other good virtues, you become more of a man. My ladies, flow with life, whatever the heart speaks to you. But also, think things out. Be rational in your reasoning. And if you tune in with those emotions as well, oh my God, your discernment will be so strong in life. I hope by sharing those two different perspectives, it allows us to come together in a balanced way. And that's why on Truth Awakening, the platform that I've created, that's like the main message. Hey, let's balance the mind and body. Let's uplift the mind and body so we can create synergy between the mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, soul. Hey, come on. This is where it's at, y'all. Hey, thanks for tuning in. All my love to y'all. Be good, be safe, and always remember, say hi to a stranger.